Before Wren could take a second step from the doorway of the bookshop, she felt a rush of air from above, followed by an ear-splitting, thunderous crash. A plate glass window fell from a great height and shattered onto the path no more than 5 paces in front of her. There was a spattering, like rain, over her clothes, and she looked down to see cubes of safety glass sprinkled over her jacket, balanced on the creases, along the top of her breast pocket, and in the slight upturn of her shirt hem. Some had gathered on the top of her black loafers. She thought, as she stared at them, that they looked like diamante-encrusted shoes that she would never normally buy. It took a second for a cold feeling to wash over her. The crumpled remains of the window frame lay on the path in front of her. Pieces of wood crisscrossed like kindling. A sea of little blue-green glass cubes sprayed out from its edges. Just seconds. If she'd left Cravenwick Pages just 2 seconds earlier, the window would have come down directly on her head. If she hadn't paused in the doorway to check that text from Alex asking her to buy milk. The thought made her freeze on the spot, dimly aware of a handful of early morning passers-by looking over with concern. Then slowly, robotically, and in more than a little shock, she brushed the glass off her jacket, kicked the fragments from her shoes, and numbly walked forward around the wreckage in her path. A man's voice came from above. "Jesus, are you all right? I'm sorry about that." Wren didn't look back. She just continued walking, in a daze, until she arrived at work. Wren sat at her desk, chewing her pen and staring into space. The office at the Northumberland Echo was beginning to wake. The other at-the-desk-by-10 workers wandering in holding takeaway coffees. The low electronic hum of computers being switched on. Murmurs of good morning. She'd arrived first to the empty office, just after 9:30, and had taken some time to settle from the shock of what had just happened. Even after she'd picked the last cube of glass from her clothes, she still felt covered in something. Maybe it was a fog of adrenaline slowly lifting, or maybe it was the feeling that she wasn't as invincible as she thought, but she hadn't fully shaken it off. Derek and Gary eyed her shrewdly from the opposite desk, then glanced at each other. The office's most experienced reporters always smelled a story in the air. "You all right, Wren?" asked Derek. A sturdy man in his 50s who could do with going up a shirt size and had yellow fingers from years of chain smoking. Wren blinked, roused from plumbing the depths of her dark thoughts. "Just having an existential crisis about fate versus chance. How about you?" I'm all right, thanks. What's that now?" "I'm thinking, are we meant to be where we are at all times? Or is it just random? Like we just stumble around and sometimes good things happen and sometimes bad?" "Christ alive, Wren," said Gary, rubbing his shaved head, his solution to early signs of baldness. "That's a bit deep for a Monday morning. Or is this something to do with a story?" "Maybe," she said, deciding not to mention exactly what had happened. If she wasn't careful, Gary would be down there with his dictaphone and a photographer, trying to expose a local dodgy workman. "Actually, yeah. Ignore me. Just thinking out loud." They both gave her a funny look and seemed to be about to dig a bit deeper, so she was relieved when their editor, Zara, strolled through the door, nodding and smiling at everyone as she went to her office. That stopped the conversation abruptly as the others tried to look busy with their actual job, rather than musing on the mysteries of the universe.